Hi, guys. Thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Self Reflection Podcast. Um, I am excited to share our guests with you guys. I know you guys heard some of our conversations um, prior to us actually starting the podcast episode, which I loved. You know, so I would like to introduce our guest for today. It's Nayah. She almost have the same last name as me.
Yes.
I, I was like, are we cousins?
Cameroon girls in the house with the
Yeah.
NDs. NDs, like, how do you say that? ND. Where does that go?
Like Andy. I was just I usually tell people just say the D, Diffon.
Mhm.
Like just forget about the N and say the D. It's
I say, like, think of the word, like the name Anderson,
mhm,
right? There's an ND there, so it's Anderson. So it's Ndefru, right?
Ndefru.
So they
Yeah,
can don't eliminate my N. My N is there on purpose.
that's a good way to put it.
Ndefru, yeah, like, yeah.
And I remember that. Because I usually was like, it's okay. I'd rather you just say that than butcher it all the way. uh, yeah. And Naya is she's the founder and the CEO of Zolina. I cannot say that.
Solani. Solani.
Zolani. Why is this so challenging? I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Naya is the founder and CEO of Zolani Beauty. And we are going to have a little conversations about, colorism. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, and then we will talk about beauty and mindset with Africans in Africa and in the diaspora, and also just about women and our bodies, loving our bodies. So thank you for joining me on another episode of Self Reflection Podcast. Please help me welcome Naya. Hi
Thank
Naya, thank you for joining
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
me. Thank you for sharing your makeup tips with us, by the way. Loved it. Do you want to give us a little background about yourself?
Okay, sure. Like I said, my name is Nayah Ndefru. I'm a mom of two. My daughter's name is Zolani, and she's kind of the inspiration for this brand. I have a son as well, who's older than her, 2 years older. I've always had some kind of hustle in me, always had a business from the time I was a little girl. Um, in secondary school, I had a business with my mom selling plantain chips. And I've been that person, like selling insurance, selling stuff out the back of my trunk and all of that. But obviously, I'm from your typical African home where it's like, you please be a doctor or a lawyer, engineer, something that, is good.
I know. No.
So I did my career was in clinical lab science, so I felt like it was doctor adjacent. It was not quite a doctor, but science, it works. So and I worked at the University of Washington for a while in corporate America doing like quality management, systems engineering and that type of stuff, and also worked in hospital laboratories, and ended my career in capacity building, public health capacity building, through work I was, global health work, helping develop laboratories and stuff like that. But I've always had passion for entrepreneurship. So um, on the cusp of COVID, as um, the landscape for global health was really putting resources into COVID, I thought it was a good time for me to really pivot into entrepreneurship full time again. I'd done it before, then went back to work, and then went back into full-time entrepreneurship since 2019. With Zolani Beauty being my primary focus. So Zolani Beauty is like my baby. It's been around. Initially started more so like a passion project, just to create something that gave me space to have conversations that were important to me, but do it in a fun way through makeup, through creating products that I felt would serve people closest to me. So for many years, it was just creating fun lipsticks and foundation. And now we continue to add products to our product offerings at Zolani Beauty, and hoping to continue to grow our Zolani tribe, as I like
Yeah.
to say. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I know you and I had talked off camera, and you told me a little backstory of like where this came from with your daughter being in the hospital and what the conversations that were being had around your daughter. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. So, you know, when a baby is born in a lot most African cultures, it's you gotta your friends, your family, your mom's friends, your dad's friends, they have to come and see this baby, right? So I think the conversation around Zolani being born was, and I cannot forget, it was a friend of my mom's, especially, and there were a couple other conversations, but this stood out to me in particular. It's like, it's so black, right? Like, and I was like, okay, like, cute little baby here. What has blackness got to do? And she's like, oh, she has a very African nose. And you're thinking, okay, lady. Yeah. And and then another conversation that really stood out was, you know, when she was little, like my son was probably my complexion or lighter when he was a baby. Now he's deeper. His complexion is deeper than mine. Um, but someone said, "Oh, I wish your daughter had your son's complexion, and your son had your daughter's complexion. Wouldn't that have been good? Wouldn't that be good?" You know. And while I these are people that we love,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
People who care about you, and they love you,
Mhm.
right? But this is normal conversation. Like no one has told them, don't say that. Like, what is wrong with you? Right? And I'm laughing about it, but those are the conversations that young girls take with them into their adulthood.
Mhm.
And now I got to see it that, they talk about imprinting, right? From birth, the first, usually with animals, right? The first animal they see, they imprint onto that animal like that's their parent, and they follow them and they do everything they do. And if we're talking about that whole imprinting mechanism, we're imprinting those conversations onto our children
Yes.
from birth. Yeah, because she can only see the world through the lens that is given to her, right? And you're, again, not directly saying your color is not nice. No one says that.
Mhm.
No one does. But they say you could be better if you were different. That's the implication of the story. And so many dark skinned women, brown skinned girls, and the spectrum is wide because in some communities, I'm the dark skinned one,
Mhm.
right? And so it's really a matter of where you are and what spaces you occupy, that beauty perceptions are can be very damaging Or and for some people, it's empowering because they feel I'm the pretty one.
Mhm.
The whole conversation around light skin privilege or pretty privilege, right? Um, we don't like to talk about it. But I remember interviewing, I used to do a conversation segment called Color Conversations. And one of the young ladies I was speaking to said her experience in Cameroon was that all the bank tellers were women who were lighter in complexion. The people at the forefront of the business had to be, quote, pretty people, right? And so, which means we could have a smart, talented, brilliant, dark-skinned woman, you know, melanin on fleek, and they be like, "No, you can't be at the front
Yeah.
because you black."
Yeah.
Like, let's say the words that we've heard, like, "'Cause you're black."
Mhm.
And I remember a friend of mine was dating this guy, dark-skinned brother, handsome, beautiful brother, but he messed up, right? And the moment he messed up, he was like, "Hey, come over here with your black face," right? The insult, like, because when you tell someone they have a black face, it's an insult. You're not praising them. You're telling them you're inferior because your skin is black.
Yeah.
And we perpetrate those narratives with the language. However, it's also normalized because someone will say, but but that's how we talk now. Okay, can we fix it? Can
Yeah.
we stop? Can we stop talking like that? Can we recognize the damage that is causing and reshape the way we speak? Because words carry life, they carry power, right? And you're speaking this to your children. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's time for a new conversation, you know?
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. So
I
I think I got passionate about that because when I say the story of Zolani Beauty and the number of women who have used the product and they're like, oh, this is perfect for my skin. And I'm like, we got you. Because that was the intention for you to, my sister was 30 before she wore makeup. And she was just like, I never felt beautiful. And uh, your family can affirm you and love on you, but the world will continue to send a message that you're not it, girl. You're
yeah.
not it. You're not it. So for me, Zolani Beauty was like, whoa, my child is walking into this world. And from this big, they're saying, you're not it. You're not.
Yeah. And you know what's sad about it? It's yes, I get it. Our oppressor has like, manipulate our minds to think that, yes, I understand that colonialism happened. Yes, I understand that we have been indoctrinated to think a certain way, to feel a certain way, to look at each other in a certain light. But what is sad is it's us, Black people, Africans, that continue to, dehumanize us in this way. It's
Yes.
us that is continuing this mental cycles of, telling Black girls and Black boys that they're not enough. It is us Black people doing that to one another.
You're
And,
right.
you know, it's sad because, like, not only do our children grow up feeling inferior and not feeling as if they belong, but they also grow up, not taking up space in this world and thinking that they have to, look up to the master. They have to, feel a certain type of way, or they have to shut themselves out to give space for somebody else that looks different than them, and when you talked about your daughter and how that comment was made, like I clench my teeth, because like even though your daughter cannot comprehend what is going on, that energy is still being put on her, you know, and it hurts to see that like we do this to each other,
Mhm.
and the crazy thing is people that aren't black want our melanin. They want our skin. They want to look like us. Like the trend of like beauty today. Look at it. When we look at beauty, it's like curvy women are now being praised. Black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, it doesn't matter. They're now being praised. But prior to today's day and age, you know, and still to today, Black women and African women are being shamed for having a big badong, are being shamed for being curvy, and then also we hypersexualize Black women, and it's like that's not beautiful. You're just sexy, you
Mm.
know. And with that, there's so much that come in play because when we go into like the workforce, nobody takes us serious, but just sexual images or whatever you want to place us in.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
Everything you everything you do, the lens is a bit cloudy, right? There because you're approaching it with something. I remember a job I had. Um, we go out there, we put out our best, right? You're working hard, you're putting in a little extra and a little extra more to get the job done. And I was working in this where was I working? In this medical device company. I think the only black woman in like administrative type role. Um and I was working on some training for a whole bunch of Midwestern engineers. Okay. And um it was highly stressful. But every time you open your mouth, your competence is questioned, right? Your competence is under a lens. And you're like, look, I'm trying to get you stopped from being shut down. Like, that's my job here is to make sure that you are compliant and that we're doing what we need to do. And I remember one time just trying to get people to get their training done and do stuff like that. And one of the managers came to me and said, you were sounding a little aggressive. And I'm like, me, do you like, have you heard me talk before?
yeah,
Like, what does aggression mean to you? Like, that's what I really need to understand right now. But it was not from the lens of the tone of my voice. It
mhm,
was from the lens of the color of my skin,
amen.
probably the structure of my hair, because I'm an Afro girl. I'd be like, "Ooh," like, the Afros be all the way out here. The,
Yeah,
the the braids will come all the way down,
yes, Auntie. Yes.
But I think that was the lens they were approaching it from.
Mhm.
And it felt really dehumanizing. I left that job, after a while. I was just like, it's not the place for me. Um, but some of us will stick it out and fight it through. Um, you know, but I think I did talk to HR about it. I do think that when those when you feel that your competence is being questioned, or the space that you occupy is not being respected, you should challenge it. Like, in this day and age, we should challenge those assumptions of others because we make it better for the next person.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
if we open up those conversations. If they do nothing, they will remember.
Yeah.
Will remember. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you kind of touch on our next question, which where we're moving towards. Um, it was about how does painting women, Black women, as mean and aggressive when when we say how we truly feel, right? And when we hold our ground and be demanding in that space, how does that impact our mental health? When they call us difficult, aggressive, how does that, because you also went through that, I didn't know that that was going to even happen with this conversation, but how did that impact your mental health?
Girl, I'm loving the fact that we're having mental health conversations. I think a lot of us have been so used to the grind, to pushing through, that we didn't even realize it was impacting our health, that we were living stressed, like that was the default. Um, and, you know, if every day you have to try to show that I deserve to be here, and your counterpart is just being, right? And there's one person's like, I'm gonna do this so you know I should be here. Meanwhile, you've done all the work and you should be there. And someone else is just there. They've done work too, right? And they deserve to be there. But you have to constantly prove. You have to go in a little bit earlier. You got to stay a little later. You got to dot your I's and cross your T's a little harder. You got to check your work, right? It's an internal stressor
Ooh,
just because you're being who you are, because you were born in the skin that you're born in. Um, I think a lot of Black women live with this, Black people, brown skinned people live with an undertone of stress, which, as I've been reflecting, self-reflection, um, the rates of cancer, high blood pressure are higher in our communities, not just because of the bad food, and yes, those are factors, and that's a whole other conversation, but because of the stress. And we're having conversations with our children at very young ages. Oh, I know, like, you're incredible and you're creative, but when you're in a group with 15 white boys and you're the only Black child, you gotta watch yourself,
mhm.
because when something's gonna happen, the one face they're gonna remember is yours. We're teaching our kids to watch their back, you know, and from a young age, they're embodying that stress as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that taking time off, like for the first time since I ever had a cell phone, it was just this past week that I was able to unplug fully, like turn it off. There's no reception. Thank God for my sister. She's like, let's go on this trip. And I was really hesitant, but I've not done that since I had a cell phone. Like, turn it off.
Yes.
No cell phone. Don't check your email. This me hiking up a mountain trying to find one bar. Nope, the bar did not come. Like, you are not going to check your phone. Like, rest,
Yeah.
rest, rest, rest. It's so important. And I think even resting is a skill that we need to learn so we can rejuvenate. Even the plants do it. They go through cycles.
Mhm.
They bloom and blossom. My tree outside had flowers, and then now the flowers are gone, but then it's going to start bearing fruit. But in the winter, there's no flowers, right? It sits, it soaks up all the energy, and then it blooms. Um, So I do think rest is important, taking time for self-care is important. That could be anything. I think, social media will make you think self-care. Sometimes it may just be sitting in your space and being still, and that's caring for you. Or locking your door. If you have kids like mine that bump in all the time, it could be like, door is locked,
Yeah.
mommy time.
Mommy time. I love that. Because women, moms, right, are I think they're one of the people that like we forget them as individual humans once they have children. They're always attached to their babies. They're always attached to, you know, feeding, helping them nurture, but we forget about the mom actually taking time for herself and being a human, you know.
Yeah, and now that you say that, it makes me wonder if I should even say mommy time. It should be Naya time, right? Like if you say mommy time, you're attaching it to the children because I am their mom. So should it be, maybe I should just say personal time or something that they recognize because we're also teaching them,
Yes.
right, in the process. Um, and I know, God bless my mom, she worked super hard, as she's recently retired, and I'm loving the woman I'm seeing in her retirement. Like she's enjoying it. Um,
As she should.
as she should.
Good.
But she would work, work her job, her government job, and then work another job and work as much as she could. And, my parents were divorced. I don't know how old I was when they were divorced, but she took on the role of a single mother, and so did my dad. So, what did we learn? You got to work. You gotta keep working to keep the lights on. Like I am learning to ask for help.
Mm.
Like that's a big thing that I didn't know how to do because my mom could change every single light bulb. She would buy a new ladder. She would do whatever she needed to do to take care of us, right? And she hardly ever asked for help.
Mhm.
So I learned that.
Yes.
And you know, I do ask for help, but I feel like if you're not doing it the way I want it done, I know how to do it. Okay.
Yes.
I'm trying not to be like that anymore. Like help is a natural order of life. We're not meant to do this on our own.
Yes. Absolutely. I love what you just said right there. We're not supposed to do it on our own. We're here to serve one another.
Yep.
And by us serving one another, it's also us needing to learn how to ask for someone to serve us. So I love what you said. Um, we're gonna shift with like mind. We're gonna shift into a mindset conversation when it comes to like beauty in Africa and how African women should, see themselves. What um what do you have for the young girls that are in Africa right now that have been indoctrinated to see themselves as less than? And how can you help them shift their mindset in this moment to see themselves as abundance?
Mm, that's a great question. You know, abundance is a birthright.
No, say that one again. I beg, talk about talk am.
Abundance is a birthright.
Amen,
Yeah. And
amen.
I think the whole trope that um, you know, you have to travel overseas so you can, get the American dream. My dream is the African dream,
Mm.
is to see us in our fullness, in our spaces, because Africa is incredible. And you being a part of that ecosystem is by design. You know, I think the narrative has made us think less of the incredible space that some of us were born into, or born by association or first generation, whatever the case may be. But if we can shift our mindset to know that African spaces are amazing spaces, then we can start to work on them, right? So for the young girl, the young boy in Africa, who you are, number one, is not a mistake. It's not, you were created the way you are by design. You have an incredible purpose, an incredible role to play. And I want you to believe that. And that can happen anywhere, but especially where you are,
Amen.
especially where you are. Is it hard? It's hard everywhere. Everywhere it's hard. Um, some people come here and they say want to live the American dream. You see them every day going back, like, oh, I need to go back to Africa and rest. Right?
That's true.
I need to go back and rest, but we're created for a purpose. You're here for a reason. Who you are is absolutely incredible, and let no one tell you otherwise. Nobody should tell you otherwise. I think it's a matter of recognizing the greatness in yourself,
Mhm.
recognizing that we're all born for greatness, and that may be within a small circle, and that may be a big global platform. But wherever you are, do your best, you know, and be intentional about seeking, getting clarity on what's inside of you that was designed just for you. There's a space inside of you that only you recognize. No one else recognizes it but you. Yeah. And tap into that and then start finding ways to live that out now, right? Whether it's teaching, healing, like so many times we've because of that whole you should be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer narrative. What is the essence of a doctor is healing. And sometimes it can be healing people's souls. It could be pastoral. It could be a conversation with friends. Like there's some people that you speak to and you just feel better, right? Like tap into that. And I think we've not learned how to really capture that essence and then also monetize it, right? So tap into those the essence of you, because it's only you who has it, and be unabashedly you, you know, unabashedly. Don't be ashamed of anything. Everything about you is perfect. It really is. I wish I had known that many years ago. And if you don't recognize it, keep reminding yourself. Everything about me is amazing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, everything about me is perfection.
Yes.
World needs me.
The world needs you. I love that.
World needs you.
Yes.
So when you can hold your head up and say that with conviction and sprinkle your magic wherever you go, I think the world be an incredible place. Yeah. So you're perfect. You're amazing. Don't forget that. Yeah, don't
Thank
forget.
you. Thank you. I took that one to my own heart. Okay. That one came from me too, you know. So thank you for that. It's it's such a beautiful, I feel like I just got my affirmations for today all like simmered in into myself. Like nothing can like phase me today. I
Yes.
think my day has been made perfectly. Like, thank you for your words. So encouraging. I have one more question for you as a mother and as a Black mother, to be precise. How do you have um, self-confident conversations with your children? Because I think that is something that I don't think we have in a Black family or in an African family, empowering our children to say, tell your children, I love you, you look great today. How do you have those type of conversation, or how are you doing it with your
Mhm.
children?
I do just that, like you said. I actually check in with myself to say, "Did you tell them you love them today?" Like, I do a daily check. I apologize. I apologize to them when I feel like I've done something that I could have done better, because I've learned that they're learning from me, right? And so I really try to be intentional about how I speak to them, to tell them that, they're the baddest things in sliced bread, but not to make them think that, okay, then this is all I have to do. No, but it means it's room for you to constantly improve. So for example, my son has a YouTube channel, and he had been wanting this YouTube channel for a long time. And as a parent, you're like, oh my gosh, he wants a YouTube channel. Like, now we got to have him be exposed and all of this. And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to show my face right now. I just want to share the fact that I'm gaming. It's
Oh,
like, I don't really understand this gaming thing, but okay, all
he's
right,
he's
do your
doing his
gaming,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and so we helped him create the channel and everything, and then he got to 100 subscribers. I
Oh,
was like, I am so proud of you. We got I got one. He loves money. That's his thing. Like, he loves money. So I go went and got some money and changed it into ones and did a spray dance on him. I was like, I'm so, so, so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing now. As an African mother,
mm,
okay, like, my child wanting to do a YouTube channel on gaming was a big, like, what are we doing in this life, right? Like, what are you doing? But he's so passionate about it. He loves it. And the world is so different, right? So I had to check myself that, okay, my son has changed over the years. Like, before, he just wanted to be Barack Obama. He wanted to wear white shirts and black pants, and then he wouldn't even roll up the sleeve because he was like, I've never seen Obama roll the sleeve. So
okay.
I had to find pictures so that in the summer he's not getting too hot, right?
Mhm.
But I think it's so important to affirm them. The other day, he did something and he was trying to explain himself, and I kept talking over him. This time, mom, and I'm talking, right? Like, I'm cutting him off and I'm trying to get my point across. He says, Mommy, you keep interrupting me. Like, yes, I'm your mother. You're not listening to me, right? Like, we were doing this back and forth. And we finally came to something and agreed on whatever. I don't even remember what it was. But I sat and I reflected. And I think as parents, we need to do that. I thought about it and I said, man, if I was talking like that and someone kept interrupting me, I would feel really bad. I would feel like I was not being heard. And that was not nice. So I went to him. I said, knock, knock. Hey, Baba. He's
You
like,
are bad.
yeah, I'm like, we were talking and I was talking over you. It's like, remember when we were talking downstairs? He's like, yes, mommy. I'm like, I'm so sorry. You're right. I shouldn't have done that. I need to be better at listening before responding. But mommy gets impatient sometimes and I don't listen to the whole story. And that's the truth. I get impatient with him sometimes because he's a feeler and he really wants to express everything. And I'm like, can you hurry up? You know? So the truth is I need to get better. And so I told him, I'm so sorry. I'm going to work on being better and listening. And he came and gave me a big hug. He's like, Mommy, it's okay, you know, but I feel like he felt heard.
Mhm.
And I sat back and I recognized my mistake and I felt really bad, you know. Um, so affirming our children, listening to them, also watching their body language. I think kids are very perceptive, you know. Funny enough, my daughter is right now with your sister. So yeah, and she does not like to spend time away from me or from our home,
Mhm.
except for two of her friends local in the area. Those are the only people, and maybe my family, like my sisters and brothers. She loves being around our family,
Yeah.
but outside of that, she has a very strong side eye for everybody. So we go to your sister's place, and I tell her, "Okay, we gotta go." She's like, "I thought we were spending the night." I was like, "Yeah, but I gotta take your brother in the morning." And and then your sis says, "Oh, she can spend the night. I'll bring her." I was like, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna stay." And I was like,
Okay. Oh, that's cute.
I perceive that she likes your sister's energy,
Mm,
right? And we got to pay attention when kids don't like people's energy. Like, don't force them, you know, because we got to teach them to be intuitive. And you
yeah.
can't teach them by crushing, like, go and say hello to this uncle and they don't want to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, watch out. You know, some, yes, can kids just be naughty or whatever? Yes. But we need to be perceptive. So I'm learning to tell them I love them every day, um, create space for each of them. So, like, my daughter and I have mommy daughter time, and my son and I have mommy son time, where it just be the two of us. And we just sit and we'll talk because, like I said, he's a feeler and a talker. So he wants to express all these things. And half the time, I don't have the time to listen. So when I create the space to listen, I think he really appreciates it. So recognizing our children's love languages, we talk about it as adults, right? Like, oh, gifts, acts of service, personal time, yada, yada, yada. Kids are the same. My daughter can care less if I sit and we're just chatting. No, she wants us to actively do things. That is her love language. So if I can sit and paint with her for 15 minutes, it's more valuable to her than us sitting and getting our nails done in a nail salon where somebody else is doing it for us
Yeah.
because she values that personal time we're painting and talking in that.
Yeah.
What mommy wants to do is sit on a chair and relax and put her feet up and let someone else do my feet and you sit next to me. That doesn't speak love to her. That's like, okay. you know? So learning our kids' love languages is something I'm learning. Um, because what I do for my son means nothing to my daughter.
Mhm.
Nothing. And what I do for my daughter, if I tell my son, "Come, let's paint," he'll probably be like, "What the world? What is going on with you?" Right? But he likes attention. So if I sit with him and we talk about his videos and you know talk about what he's doing and what brings him joy, now that will make him light up. So I'm learning a lot. Honestly, this week I said I need to get another parenting book because I'm trying not to be. I grew up where you don't say much. And if you're not doing what your parents told you, you get a whipping, right? And I don't whip my children. And I do feel overwhelmed sometimes because the only parenting tools I know were what I was taught. So I'm learning, I'm asking questions, I'm talking to others, and hopefully for the next generation we do better, you know.
Yeah.
Our, our parents did the best they could, but I also want to do my best. for this time as well and help them become great citizens.
Mhm.
And I think it's being open to learning as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing all of that. S- some of the things that you said that really touched me, all of it touched me, but something that really stuck with me was the fact that you said you allow your son to express his emotion, because in today's day and age, men don't know how to express their emotion. And that's where, a lot of, they don't feel the need and the want to express themselves, because they have been taught not to express themselves. They have been taught that that is weakness, that is not something that a man should be doing, but it's the totally opposite. So I am in love with the fact that you let your son have that space, because that's only teaching him that his feelings are valuable. His feelings his feelings are being validated as well, you know. So thank you for that. And I just love what you do, and it's been an incredible conversation that we've had, from our time to doing the makeup to getting on, me having a little bit of technical issues, but I think our conversation was so beautiful. And, thank you so much again for joining me on Self Reflection Podcast. Is there any final words you want to share with anyone?
No, thank you, first of all, for having me and creating the space for us to reflect and to think about it. I think, the journey of entrepreneurship comes in so many ways and so many forms, like what you're doing, and it takes boldness and being brazen and not um, recognizing the gifts inside of you when nobody else does. Um, I I've struggled with that. So when you see people out here doing what they're doing, it doesn't mean there's lack of struggle. It just means every day we're learning and we're trying to be better. So I want to encourage everyone on the journey, whether it's learning to apply makeup, um, do it, do it every day, right? Try it, try something. Like for me, I never used to really wear eyeshadow. And as much as we have a beautiful eyeshadow palette, I am still learning how to put on eyeshadow and really embrace wearing it because, again, I'm still reformatting my mind, right, about makeup. So I really invite everyone on this journey with me. It's a growth journey. It's a time to reflect, a time to, I feel like putting on makeup is so intimate. Whether you're putting it on someone else, you're getting intimate with their face, but with you, it's getting intimate with yourself, seeing yourself and recognizing that you're beautiful. And people say, okay, do we need makeup to be beautiful? No, but we're giving you tools to show up as your best self, right? Because every day you're not going to feel beautiful. That's just life. That's life lifing, right? Um, just like you can say, I pause to breathe, right? Take a deep breath. And if you can pause and take a look at yourself and say, oh, I don't really like this pimple. Let me just tap something on it so I can feel better about my face. Then when I show up, I don't keep thinking about the dark spot or the pimple or whatever that's out there. It's really about just pausing
Yeah.
and giving yourself space um, to find that authentic version of you that you love. And it's a journey. It's not a destination, it's a journey because every day we're different.
Yes.
We're evolving and we're changing and we're growing. So my hope is that, we continue to find space to grow
Mhm.
and to be the best version of ourselves. So I don't know what I talked about. We've just been talking in circles, girl. But thank you.
Yeah, no, no, it's like I think you said one thing right now that said putting on makeup is like a moment of intimacy. I've never perceived it in that way, but that's such a great time for one person to sit and look at themselves in the mirror, and that is such a great tool for you to do that self-reflection and, just fall in love with yourself again. So thank you for sharing that. Where can we find you on social media and where can we find Zolani Beauty as well?
So you can find Zolani Beauty is at Zolani Beauty everywhere, XOLANI beauty.com, or on Instagram, just Zolani Beauty, Facebook, Zolani Beauty. And personally, you can find me by my first and last name, Nayah Ndefru, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the like. So, yep, learn to say those NDs, okay?
The NDs, ND.
NDs.
It's not that hard. We say all these other names, but when it comes down to African names, they're very challenging.
Like, why is it a challenge? It's just a name.
Yeah.
It's learn it.
Thank you so much for an amazing conversation. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
uplifting my spirit today. And I hope that anyone else that is listening to Self Reflection Podcasts, or that's going to listen to this episode, is going to feel empowered as well, because your words definitely gave me some courage today. I feel so like I'm telling you, your
Thank
affirmations
you.
allow me to just like, I
Oh,
my day is set. Nothing else can like mess up my day today. It's already like my mind has like been set and I'm good to go. So thank
awesome.
you. And I hope that anyone else that is listening to this feel that same way today. And thank you guys again for listening to Self Reflection Podcasts. Take care of yourself, love yourself, be kind and be gentle with yourself. And to all my African sisters and brothers, be proud of being African. Be proud of your melanin skin, be proud of who you are, be proud of your heritage, because we are so rich. We are rich. And like Nayah said, we are abundant, and abundance is our birthrights. So thank you again for joining me on Self Reflection Podcast. I appreciate you truly. Until
Thank you
next
so
time, y'all. Thank you. Until next time, you're listening to Self Reflection Podcast. And this is your girl, Lira.